This aircraft behind me is the fastest and the highest flying aircraft in the museum's collection. But not only that, it is the fastest and the highest flying aircraft in history.
The SR-71 Blackbird, America's old super spy plane, holds an enduring title as the world's fastest jet, even decades after its retirement. With its sleek, sinister appearance, the SR-71 Blackbird looks like it could be the star of a science fiction blockbuster. In reality, this jet-black marvel of engineering proved far more adept at outrunning enemy missiles than any spaceship from Star Wars. It's no wonder that this iconic aircraft continues to capture the imagination of aviation enthusiasts and historians alike. The Blackbird's impressive speed and altitude capabilities set it apart from any other manned aircraft. Clocking speeds over Mach 3 or 3 times the speed of sound, and flying at altitudes of 85,000 feet, the SR-71 could outrun any threat. Despite being retired in the 1990s, no modern aircraft has come close to challenging its record, cementing its legacy as a pinnacle of aeronautical achievement. The story of the SR-71 begins with Cold War tensions in the 1950s, when the CIA started using the U-2 spy plane to monitor the Soviet Union's growing nuclear arsenal. The U-2, though effective, was relatively slow and ungainly, relying on its ability to fly at extremely high altitudes to evade enemy fighters and early surface-to-air missiles. The intelligence gathered by the U-2 was critical, most notably during the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962, when it revealed Soviet nuclear missiles in Cuba, bringing the world to the brink of nuclear war. However, the U-2's limitations soon became apparent, prompting the development of a faster, more capable reconnaissance aircraft. Enter the SR-71 Blackbird, designed by Lockheed's Skunk Works division under the legendary Clarence Kelly Johnson. With its revolutionary design, incorporating radar-absorbing materials and a titanium airframe capable of withstanding the extreme temperatures of high-speed flight, the Blackbird was a technological marvel. Throughout its operational life, the SR-71 performed countless reconnaissance missions, gathering invaluable intelligence without ever being shot down. Its ability to outpace threats made it an indispensable asset during the Cold War, and its enduring legacy is a testament to the ingenuity and daring of its creators. Even today, the SR-71 Blackbird remains a symbol of American technological prowess and a benchmark for future advancements in aviation. But the U-2S also provoked significant diplomatic incidents because they simply couldn't fly high enough to avoid Russian SA-2 surface-to-air missiles. This vulnerability was starkly illustrated in 1960 when a U-2 was shot down, leading to the capture of its pilot, Gary Powers. His capture triggered an embarrassing and high-stakes diplomatic confrontation between the United States and the Soviet Union. The tension escalated further during the Cuban Missile Crisis when another U-2 was shot down, this time resulting in the death of the pilot and heightening the already critical tensions between Moscow and Washington. Additionally, 5 Taiwanese U-2S met the same fate over China, underscoring the urgent need for a more advanced reconnaissance aircraft. Recognizing that altitude was no longer a sufficient defense, American engineers shifted their strategy in 1957. They embarked on developing an aircraft for the CIA that they hoped Soviet radar would be unable to detect and that could outrun any missile fired at it. This ambitious project was handed to the Lockheed Skunk Works factory, which ultimately developed the A-12, codenamed Archangel. The prototype underwent its first tests in the secrecy of Area 51 in 1962, and eventually 15 A-12S were produced. The A-12S were deployed in Operation Black Shield, flying 29 high-risk spy missions over North Korea and Vietnam from 1967 through 1968. The intelligence gathered during these missions was invaluable, helping the CIA map out North Vietnamese air defenses and locate the USS Pueblo after it was captured by North Korea. Despite losing 6 aircraft to accidents, the A-12S proved their worth in critical intelligence operations. The Air Force, intrigued by the A-12's capabilities, developed prototypes of an interceptor version called the YF-12 and considered a high-speed bomber, the B-71. They even experimented with the M-21 drone carrier, which launched a D-21 spy drone off its back. Despite these innovations, none of these spin-offs entered service. Ultimately, the A-12 was retired in favor of an Air Force-operated variant, the SR-71 Blackbird, which carried on the legacy of high-speed, high-altitude reconnaissance. The SR-71, with its sleek design and impressive capabilities, became an icon of Cold War espionage and remains a symbol of technological prowess and strategic intelligence gathering. The SR-71 Blackbird, a marvel of aviation engineering, could consistently cruise at speeds exceeding Mach 3. Its record-breaking manned flight speed of Mach 3.3 remains unchallenged, though some claim it once reached Mach 3.5. Pilot Brian Schul, during a harrowing mission in 1986, reported achieving this incredible speed to evade a missile over Libya. This achievement is even more impressive when you consider that later Soviet fighters, like the MiG-25 and MiG-31, could briefly reach Mach 3 using afterburners akin to a short, energy-intensive sprint. In stark contrast, the Blackbird maintained its Mach 3 cruise for up to 90 minutes before needing in-flight refueling. One of the Blackbird's most astonishing feats was its New York to London flight in just 1 hour and 54 minutes, demonstrating its unparalleled speed. At Mach 3, the SR-71 could outrun surface-to-air missiles. By the time enemy radar systems could lock on and launch, the Blackbird would already be out of range, speeding beyond the missile's effective distance. Lockheed didn't rely solely on speed for the Blackbird's defense. It was the first operational aircraft designed with a reduced radar cross-section, featuring knife-like Chinese coated with early radar-absorbent iron ferrite paint to lower detection chances. These Chinese not only helped with stealth, but also provided additional lift and improved aerodynamic stability. However, by modern standards, the Blackbird wasn't stealthy. Its radar cross-section of 10 square meters was detectable by advanced Soviet radar. Additionally, the enormous heat exhaust plumes from its engines disrupted air particles, making it visible to radar. To counter these vulnerabilities, the SR-71 was equipped with radar jammers and other electronic countermeasures to confuse enemy missiles. Adding to its defense capabilities, the Blackbird could sustain flight at an altitude of 85,000 feet, another unbroken record. Navigation was handled by an advanced astro-inertial system, using the stars to pinpoint the plane's position. This combination of speed, altitude, and sophisticated technology made the Blackbird a nearly invincible reconnaissance aircraft during its time. The first operational SR-71 unit was activated in 1968 at Kadena Air Base in Okinawa, Japan. The locals affectionately nicknamed these reconnaissance birds Habu, after the venomous pit vipers native to the region. This nickname resonated with the Blackbird pilots and stuck throughout the aircraft's illustrious career. The SR-71 Blackbird flew numerous reconnaissance missions over Vietnam, showcasing its remarkable performance. However, it soon became apparent that the plane's reduced radar cross-section was not enough to ensure its safety. The powerful Russian-made radars could track the Habu and launch missiles at it, but the Blackbird had a trick up its sleeve: its incredible speed. Astonishingly, around 800 missiles were fired at Blackbirds over Vietnam, yet not a single one was brought down by enemy fire. In one incident, a CIA A-12 took a piece of shrapnel from an SA-2 missile that exploded 100 meters away, but even this didn't deter the Blackbird's mission. Over its 30-year service, the SR-71 flew 3,551 reconnaissance missions across the globe, including the Middle East, North Africa, Europe, and Asia. Despite losing 11 SR-71s to accidents, only one pilot lost their life, and none of the aircraft were ever lost to hostile fire. Colonel James Shelton Jr., a seasoned Blackbird pilot, vividly recalled an epic 11.5-hour mission during the Yom Kippur War. His task was to photograph Israeli army positions. The mission involved flying over Egyptian airspace, where he was relentlessly tracked by multiple radar sites and interceptors. Yet, none could match the SR-71's speed and altitude. The photos Shelton captured provided crucial evidence that Israeli troops had advanced further into Egyptian territory than admitted, leading to successful U.S. diplomatic pressure on Israel to withdraw its forces. The Blackbirds, officially known as the SR-71, undertook perilous reconnaissance missions off the Russian coast, skillfully evading the Mach 3 MiG-25 fighters. Imagine the scene: Soviet pilots, trained and prepared to intercept any intruder, suddenly finding themselves outmatched by an American plane that seemed to defy physics. Viktor Belenko, a Soviet defector, vividly recounted in his biography, MiG Pilot, how the SR-71 Blackbirds would taunt the MiG-25S. They would soar to altitudes the MiGs couldn't reach, leisurely circling above them, or simply zoom away at speeds that left the Russian jets in the dust. This cat-and-mouse game didn't just highlight the SR-71's superiority, it cemented its legendary status in the annals of aviation history. Yet, this legend came with its own set of challenges. Operating the SR-71 Blackbird was an expensive endeavor, with some estimates suggesting costs exceeding $100,000 per hour of flight. Think about that for a moment. Every single hour in the air was more expensive than a luxury car. These high-speed missions demanded not just financial resources, but also intensive maintenance. On average, a week of meticulous upkeep was required between flights. The extreme speeds and altitudes at which the SR-71 operated caused parts of the aircraft to loosen or come off entirely, necessitating careful, time-consuming repairs. Moreover, the technological landscape was rapidly evolving. The SR-71, with its 1960s technology, faced the challenge of keeping up with modern advancements. It lacked the capability to transmit intelligence data back to base in real time, a significant drawback when time-sensitive information was crucial. As spy satellites and drones emerged, offering real-time data transmission and practical alternatives for strategic reconnaissance missions, the Blackbird started to look like a relic of a bygone era. These new technologies were cheaper, more efficient, and didn't risk pilot lives. The SR-71 was first retired in 1989, but its story didn't end there. The allure of its unparalleled capabilities led to a brief revival in 1994 when 3 airframes were brought back into service. Despite this resurgence, the costs associated with maintaining such a small fleet remained exorbitant. Efforts by politicians, including the legendary astronaut and Senator John Glenn, to keep the program alive ultimately fell short. The Air Force, grappling with budget constraints and shifting priorities, decided to allocate funds to other projects. Consequently, the SR-71 was permanently withdrawn from service in 1998, with NASA retiring its 2 Blackbirds the following year. For years, rumors of an even faster spy plane, the so-called Aurora, swirled among aviation enthusiasts and conspiracy theorists. These whispers hinted at a secret aircraft that could surpass the SR-71's incredible capabilities. However, its existence remains unproven and seems increasingly unlikely. Instead, the Pentagon has embraced drones and satellites for reconnaissance, favoring these unmanned options to minimize the risk to human pilots and avoid potential diplomatic incidents. The still classified RQ-180 Global Hawk stealth drone is believed to be the effective successor to the Blackbird, offering advanced capabilities without the need for a human pilot. Interestingly, in scenarios where there is no threat from surface-to-air missiles, the Air Force still relies on the venerable U-2. This aircraft, dating back to the 1950s, has been heavily upgraded over the years and continues to fly photo reconnaissance missions. Its longevity is nothing short of remarkable, outlasting its supposed successor, the SR-71, by over 2 decades. The U-2's continued use, including missions over Iraq, underscores its adaptability and enduring value in military operations. Despite these advancements and the shift towards unmanned reconnaissance, the SR-71 Blackbird remains an iconic symbol of speed and innovation. Its sleek, futuristic design and record-breaking capabilities have earned it a permanent place in aviation history. Even today, it holds its title as the Queen of Speed, a testament to the ingenuity and daring of the engineers and pilots who brought it to life. The SR-71 Blackbird's legacy continues to inspire and captivate, reminding us of a time when pushing the boundaries of what was possible was a daily pursuit for those daring enough to dream.